Movie.
I'm Danny Knightmare.
And we're Horror Addicts.
And tonight we're going to see
Unfriended, the dark web.
I wonder what spider spun that. I wasn't a big fan of the original. So
I liked the original. I think the original gets a lot of flack, but it's actually pretty decent.
I kind of like what they were trying to do there with it being all on computer, but I wasn't really into it. The only thing I really remember is the kid from Fat Kid Rules the World put his hand in a blender.
Oh yeah.
That's about all I remember. I didn't really like the cast, so.
I didn't like the cast, but they were believable because a lot of teenagers are assholes, and that's just the way the world is.
Yeah, I guess so. Oh well, I hope this one's better.
Me too.
Let's check it out.
Whoa.
That was pretty good.
I liked it better than the first one, yes.
I liked the first one. I think the first one had some really innovative filming methods. I liked that it was all on the computer with the exception of the ending. It's not flawless by any means. It's not a movie I need to own, but I thought Unfriended was pretty decent.
The ending was crap.
The ending was crap. They should have done away with that part of it. There were possibly better ways to have ended that movie, but it wasn't that bad. I think Unfriended gets a lot of shit, and it's not actually that bad.
I did enjoy this one though. The ending actually was pretty good.
Yeah, this was really suspenseful and creepy, and it didn't have a lot of that dead time that you got with the first one. There's a lot of parts in the first one where nothing is happening, and this one, the pacing felt pretty steady.
Liked the new cast a lot better. I related to them a lot more too, so that helped.
The biggest problem with Unfriended is all of the characters are assholes, and I mean that's part of the plot that you find out that even the characters you think are nice are terrible people. And what's nice about this one is they're characters that you can root for. They're all pretty decent people. They're people who are going to remind you possibly of your group of friends. They're people who are going to behave in situations possibly how you would. They don't always make the best decisions, but they try to do the right thing.
And you know, they play Cards Against Humanity, which is hilariously fun.
Yes, which is what we do with our friends. So again, very relatable. It was also really interesting because there's not a supernatural element to it like there was with the first one. So in many ways, I find that a lot scarier.
Yeah, it really had nothing to do with the first one except for that it's all filmed on a computer and people start getting killed.
And really in this movie, the title Unfriended doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
No.
But the movie is good. It's like a lot of movies that I've seen before, only this one was done well. Like I've seen The Den. I didn't care for The Den. It's The Den, but done well. It's not slow. It's a lot more interesting and believable. Same thing with Megan is Missing, and Megan is Missing just has horrible characters, and the characters speak in ways that just are so trashy.
Yeah, the whole movie just is filth. So it has little elements of that, and definitely some of the storyline of The Den, but like you said, it's better.
Some of the technology was a bit baffling for me. Like I was wondering how they could obscure themselves on camera, but then you have to remember this is the dark web. You could have all kinds of user-created technology that we're not aware of, and I think that adds to the horror of it.
Yeah, some of the technology, it might be hard for some people to believe and stuff, but I feel like it's still less cheap and less lazy than saying, oh, Ghost did it. And is it an accurate depiction of hacking? Well, probably not, but then again, when has Hollywood ever accurately depicted hacking in any of its movies?
Possibly war games.
Possibly the war games.
But I mean, we're not hackers, and I will say for, you know, a person who's an average computer user, it was believable to me. And I don't think it needs to be accurate, it just needs to be believable. And as far as I'm concerned, it was believable. Now, if you're an uber hacker, you might have issue with it, but I thought it did what it needed to do to make the story work.
Yeah, I felt like the story came together nicely. It finished off on a good note. You know, some dark shit in this dark web, but I enjoyed it a lot more.
I won't say it's like a gory movie. I think maybe even the first one was gorier than this, but it's very suspenseful. It's believable enough that it actually is genuinely scary.
Yeah, and as we said, the characters, you root for them a little more, so you actually feel bad when bad stuff happens to them.
And with the exception of one character who made a dumb mistake, none of these characters knew that they were getting pulled into this mess, and so you really sympathize with them. They think they're just going to have a game night night with their buddy, and it turns out their buddy has a stolen computer from somebody who is part of a circle of people who do very disgusting things in the dark web. And so, yeah, you relate to that could happen to anybody. I mean, who doesn't have a dumb friend who would take, a computer left in a lost and found box?
A bunch of innocent people pulled into a shitty situation. While in the first one, they were all a bunch of bullying and just nasty kids who tormented a girl to suicide, so.
And yeah, just like the first one, it's all completely on the computer. So it's just interesting to see how they're able to tell this story without ever pulling back from that, without ever, showing what's behind the computer.
Now, I'd say sometimes that is a little frustrating. It's just kind of boring to watch people fumble around on a computer with a mouse and hitting keys and entering passwords and getting denied or whatever. But it didn't bother me that much this time around.
For me, it was more interesting this time around, one, because there was a lot of things going on in the background, because you can still see when, the main character is fumbling around, you can still see the other characters in the chat, and you can see, apps and stuff, and there's messages happening, so I feel like there's always something to look at. I feel like I was never bored. Whereas in the first one, there is a lot of, pacing time.
Yeah.
So the pacing is definitely improved. So, yeah, I mean, I don't want to spoil anything for you, so I think that's about the extent of what I want to say, but I would definitely recommend checking this out, and I think it'd be a good one to see at the theater.
Yeah, if you hated the first one or liked it, you could still very well end up liking this one.
I think it's got enough of the first one, if you enjoyed the way it was put together, which is what I found really fascinating, how so much of it was ad-libbed and how they had people in separate rooms actually Skyping this stuff. That to me is really fascinating, and I don't know if they actually had the characters, come up with a lot of the lines impromptu like they did with the first one, but I do think that the way that this is filmed and put together is interesting, and I think that essentially if you liked the first one, this is done 1,000 times better, and you're going to love this one. And I think if you didn't like the first one, this is a good enough film that you should give it a chance.
So, as far as date movies go, check it out. You can have fun. I had low expectations, but I was happy with the night. Do you know how to say thank you for watching in sign language?
Thanks for watching? I don't know.
I wish I could sign better.
I do know how to sign Snoopy. There you go.
And cut.
Yeah.